Authorizing the Housing Rehabilitation Committee to request conflict of interest waivers from Department of Housing and Urban Development for housing rehabilitation, first-time home buyers, and replacement housing program applications. We have a motion and a second. Is there here someone that can speak on it?
They asked me to convey that what this is, that Tim Ackland, they have to get a waiver from HUD to allow an employee to participate in that program. And this is in relation to that property on Main Street that has been restored following a fire that the city did under its housing rehab program. And it's been on the market for a year and a half to 2 years with no takers. And so Mr. Ackland is interested in purchasing it.
So it was offered to the public?
Yeah, it has been for at least a year and a half.
He wants to go through it, then we have to do the waiver.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I move approval.
And just to further clarify, that's a specific instance of why this legislation is before you, but the question, the real policy question before you on this legislation is, should employees be able to, if they qualify, be able to benefit from these programs like any other member of the public? That's the real policy question. If yes, then you're asking that the council delegate the authority to make that request to HUD, to this particular governing body. That's the underlying policy question. If that's approved, then people who work for the city would be able to partake in this program just like any other citizen in the city.
So this is a precedence then that will be carried forward?
If somebody qualifies and wishes to partake in the program like anyone else, they would still have to follow all the requirements, but the HUD has an additional hurdle that has to be followed. They have to have, the governing body has to make a request for the waiver, not the individual, the governing body. So that's why it's before you now. Also, it has to happen, our office has to give an opinion, a legal opinion, an ethical opinion to HUD on the same issue. And there also has to be a public notice that the city's even considering this. So there's a number of hurdles that have to follow through. But the real policy issue for you is, do you want to allow city employees to be able to participate in this program like any other citizen within the city?
Given the fact that we are encouraging our employees to live in the city as long as it can be done legally and there's no favoritism, the public, it's after public has the opportunity to have access, seemed to me that that's a positive thing. So I'm glad we're looking at it. Thank you.
I agree also. City employees, well, there should not be favoritism or an extra benefit. There also should not be a penalty. And I think Stephen said it, just like any other citizen of the city.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Oh, you want to get out of here, but we voted on the police officer positions. What about the other, the wastewater treatment position? Okay.
I know you want to get out of here, but it's your turn. All right. Number 93, resolution approving an amendment to the agreement between the City of LaCrosse and Multiple Plan Incorporated for network and managed care related to services for the city's self-funded health plan. We have a motion and a second. We also need an amendment on this. Wendy?
What I would request amended is on the actual contract itself, In the very first paragraph, it has the wrong effective date. The effective date should be April 1, 2011, not January 1, 2011. That's a typo, so.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for the amendment? I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the amendment? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. On the main motion, is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay. Short circuit number 1, resolution releasing funds for fiber install and entering into a cost share agreement with other entities. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. On the back side of the piece of paper, short circuit number 2, resolution approving a grievance procedure under 2011 Wisconsin Act 10. We have a motion and a second, and I think I'm losing it. There are a number of amendments here, and this will be an ongoing process. But there are a number of amendments here, and I guess I'd ask for a motion to allow the document to go through with the amendments. We have a motion, second. Dick, do you have a question?
Well, this, it may have been sent out electronically and I didn't get it, but I mean, as I understand it, these are the kinds of things that were in contract, now they're no longer in contract, and so we are writing them up outside of contract.
Actually, the Act 10 requires a grievance procedure be established, even though our contracts are still good through the end of 2013. We have to have a grievance procedure in fact by October 1. This specific grievance procedure would apply to non-reps at this point, effective October 1, because the unions still have their contracts.
So this is only applicable to non-rep?
Yeah, but this will be a living document that, when the contracts expire, they will then apply to this grievance procedure also.
Well, it's just, this as well as I do, grievance procedures are terribly important to people in terms of how, if this organization doesn't behave in an appropriate manner, people have a right to voice their feelings about that. And I guess it seems like a pretty big deal for us to just sort of be passing tonight without spending some time talking about it. Maybe I'm misreading something here, but I've lived with grievance procedures for a long time, Mr. Apple. I know how significant they can be, so.
I can tell you for the non-rep employees, right now, they have a very limited grievance procedure. This provides them more rights, and under Act 10, the grievance procedure, the last result, it has to go to the highest form of government, which comes back to council. You guys would make the last decision in the grievance procedure.
So
that's included in here.
So it ended up here anyway, right?
Right. This procedure has about 4 or 5 steps, including an impartial hearing officer, which would be an outside attorney that we would have to hire. It would have to come from HR funds. And then they can appeal that decision to the highest form of government, which would be the common council, and then you guys can make a recommendation at that point. That's kind of what's in here. And this is going to change. This is going to be ongoing as we continue to try to interpret what the intent of the law is in the language, because it's not been real well defined. And again, this is a living document. I'll be back. I know I will, because as it's challenged or they get a new reading on the law, it's going to have to be modified.
If nothing else, Wendy, does it sort of represent what past practice has been anyway?
For the non-reps, no. This is completely new and it's more expansive for them.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.